What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Chop Shop. This is the NBA edition, and this is DraftKings. I'm going to go over some players and some salaries, some positions that I think are going to be highly owned tonight, and some guys that maybe you can save some money on or save some ownership on and compete in tournaments. A lot of different ways you can win these tournaments, and so with that being said, let's just get right to it. We'll start off at the point guard tonight, and we'll start off with Russell Westbrook. I'm not saying he's a great fade, because he's probably the number one player on the board tonight. Wouldn't make a cash game that didn't include Russell Westbrook in my lineup. I think he's a great player, but if you're asking me to define the highest owned guys right now, I would say Russell Westbrook's going to be the highest owned guy tonight. At this point in the day, it's hard to determine these things, but right now I think he's going to be your number one highest owned player. So it makes sense. At this salary, you can fade him. In the off chance that something does happen and he underperforms. I don't think he will, but it's there. The salary makes it easier to fade him when you're up at this $11,900 price range. So the guy I would play in his place, I'd save almost $3,000 here, and I think it makes sense to look at the Milwaukee point guard. I'm gonna call him Giannis because I have a hard time with his last name. But he's the Greek freak, man. He plays for Milwaukee, point guard eligible, averages nearly 47 DraftKings points per game this year. He's one of the elite players in the league, outside of that Russell Westbrook, James Harden kind of tier up there. So I think Giannis is right below that. But he's a great player, saves you a lot of money here, could have a big game. So I think it makes sense to look in other places if you want to fade Westbrook, and then this is the guy I would look at. I'll go on now to the small forward position, and I think with the price tag still being $7,500 on Carmelo Anthony, the kind of the secret's out on him. I see a lot of big players, big name DFS players rostering him these days because the value is just there. Unless he gets ejected from a game or something crazy like that, he's locked into about 40 points. So he offers an incredibly high floor, and with this salary not moving very much, the ownership is starting to creep up on him. I would imagine tonight it's just as highly owned. So if you want to fade him, that's cool in tournaments. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Good cash game option though. But in tournaments, you could fade him. I'd actually wouldn't mind fading for a guy who costs a little bit more, a few $100s more, but has a chance tonight to have a big game, I think, and that's Paul George. George, I don't think is going to be very highly owned. His numbers are a little bit down so far this year. He has a matchup tonight against Cleveland and LeBron James. I think this is the kind of matchup he gets up for. It suits him well. When you look at last season against LeBron James, Paul George averaged nearly 45 DraftKings points per game. So he takes these kind of games against these other superstars as personal challenges. That's the kind of guy I want on my team tonight. So I think if I have a Carmelo bordering on 20% owned maybe, and a Paul George down there at less than 7%, similar price tag, I think Paul George will not only outperform Carmelo Anthony on a lot of nights, but has just a lot higher upside than Carmelo. So I like Paul George in this spot. Last but not least, let's go to power forward / center here. Big man, we'll just call him the big man. I think that there's a little bit of a price drop here on DeMarcus Cousins. He's now under $9,000 on DraftKings. I think that's going to lead to some increased ownership tonight, even though the numbers on him have been down this year too, but he's still a good player. He's still good numbers, just not elite numbers that we've grown accustomed to in the past. But now we're at a salary now where people are going to start looking a lot harder. This isn't that $10,000 range. Now it's $8,900. So he may be a popular option. As opposed to that, I would save about $2,700 here if I took a guy like Marc Gasol. And I think Marc Gasol has a good chance tonight to perform really well. It's a decent matchup for him. On paper, against the Clippers, doesn't look good, but when you look at his history against DeAndre Jordan, he's perfectly fine. He has good games against Jordan. The thing that's key to Gasol is points per minute. He produces on a great level, point per minute, and the only thing that's held him down this year is the minutes. But now these last 3 games, we're seeing he's up. He's got 30 plus minutes in the last 3 games, averaging about 32 or 33 minutes a game the last 3 games. So the minutes are on the rise. I think this game could be competitive. The Clippers have been blowing people out at home, but I think if Gasol plays a full set of minutes and Conley plays a full set of minutes, we're going to have a game that is very competitive. So with that being said, I think Gasol makes for a great option with this price tag. With that being said, guys, I ran a little bit long today, but I hope these little things pay off for you. Hopefully somebody can win some money because of it. And as always, don't forget to do the social media thing and click the like button on the video. We appreciate that here. The producers, myself, everybody who's in charge of all this good content, we appreciate all that good stuff and all that good feedback. So I will see you guys next week with another edition.